Welcome back to the Unacceptable News. I'm your host, Justin Bush, and today we have a big pile of weeds. This is my compost pile. So somebody told me recently everything's a video. And I never really thought about that, but basically everything that you do is a video to someone that doesn't do it. So I do a lot of gardening and things like that. And so I was, when I heard that kind of phrase, like everything's a video, I started to think a lot about the things I'm doing and how I do them, why I do them, what people would actually want to see, what they wouldn't want to see. I'm obviously no videographer. I mean, you could tell right now, I'm just sitting in a big patch of weeds with, not the greatest phone, not the greatest camera. But that's not really the point. Just within a few feet of me in every direction is something that I could show you that a lot of people would actually be interested in. So I could show you how I compost, for instance. So what I do is a under dirt method, right? So I don't actually want to put my hands in that, do I? Let's grab this shovel and I will show you. So under here, what I do is I dig a hole. Dang it. Okay, well, this isn't going well. I should have thought this through. Anyway, you can see down there's like a bone and there's an eggshell and there's a bunch of worms. I mean, if you could see the maggots, the worms, everything that's inside, it's pretty gross actually to think of it that way. But so what I do is I dig a big hole, right? So I dig a big impression here and I take the dirt and I put it aside and I bury my piles and things like that. Now there's a bunch of stuff on top right now. It's all greens and stuff from the garden. Don't really worry about that because that will get incorporated, mixed in. So I do a pile, and when it gets so big I move to another location, do another pile, and then at the end of the year, well, it depends, in the fall or in the early spring, I will level the pile back down to the ground, take all the dirt and compost and mix it into the garden. Now the reason I'm bringing this up, the reason I want to show you this pile, is because this is just a way that you can do it to keep animals out. When you pile dirt on top of your compost, the worms come up from the ground from all sorts of directions. They get involved with your compost, but it keeps a lot of big animals from digging out your compost and eating them. And like I said, in just this little area, we can talk about so much. We can talk about trimming up your tomatoes, right? So trimming up the bottom of your tomatoes to keep them from getting diseased. We can talk about this grapevine here. This is all grapevine, all wild grape. You can see it. There's a bunch of them. And then right over here, that's poison ivy. Right there. I get poison ivy like every single year. One of the ways I kill poison ivy, one of the ways you can tell it's poison ivy, if I have like a stick or something, I can show you. But if you look at the actual branch, you'll see alternating, here we go, right there. You'll see alternating stems on poison ivy. So if you can see that, one branch will come out from one section and then a little bit higher it'll come out from a different section. And so you can see that in all poison ivy. It'll grow as a vine, and the way I kill it is I mix a solution of soap and salt and I spray it all over the leaves. Now that's not my property, so I kind of can't really mess with it on somebody else's property, but once it encroaches I spray it, and it loves this compost pile. This right here is catnip. So right here, beautiful catnip. And as you've seen, there are stray cats all over here. The cat that's always in my videos, in fact, 100% he's on the porch. He basically lives there now. He suns there in the morning when the sun is low, and there he is. So, you know, I call him Taz because he's kind of mean. He's a bit feisty at times. You wouldn't know it from the videos I've shown you, but he bites a lot. But anyway, the catnip, I'm certain that the catnip is part of the problem. This property over here has tons of catnip. It's behind the house. It comes over. It'll grow in the garden. Sometimes you'll find it just randomly throughout the garden. The seeds are really small. There's some seed heads right here, but they blow into the garden from all this catnip, this wild catnip that's everywhere. And the cats love it. In fact, when I first saw the stray cats, they were back here rolling all around. I had no idea what they were up to, and it didn't dawn on me that there was catnip back here until later on. And once I figured it out, I've harvested tons of catnip. I cut it off, dry it out. But anyway, that's just a bunch of stuff. Excuse me. I'm still sick. I've gotten better. You know, I'm definitely better than I was like 2 weeks ago, but I've still have something wrong with me, like some sort of, you know, I don't know what it is, flu or something. But anyway, the whole purpose of this video was to talk about radishes. So twice a year I grow radishes. We'll go into the garden and I'll show you kind of how I do it. So this entire area where my blueberries are, these are my blueberry bushes. I've got 5 of them. Some of them are doing pretty good. Some of them, I've had a lot of rust problems in the last few years. So I've had sickness and death in my blueberries, and I've tried really hard to bring them back. And believe it or not, even though they look kind of scrubby right now, they are doing amazing from what they were last year. You can see all this death. I need to cut this out. But yeah, we almost lost them. So the fact that they're still alive is pretty amazing. The fact that this one is growing blueberries, even though they've been really sick, is absolutely amazing. But here are some radishes. I left some in the ground, okay? So this is a radish plant, you can see. And you have some choices on how you're gonna grow your radishes and how you're gonna deal with them. If you leave them too long, the root gets soft and it's no longer edible. So a lot of people pick them before they grow flowers, okay? Once they start growing flowers, a lot of people won't eat them, which is fine. I grow 2 sets of radishes. I grow one in the spring and I grow one in the middle of the summer. I've done that for the last 3 years. I let them go to seed. I love the amount of pollinators it brings into the garden. I mean, we will have hundreds, if not thousands of bees. Like, just imagine this 4 feet tall, 5 feet tall, full of radish flowers. The bees come from as far as the eye can see. And then when I pull them all up, sometimes I leave them on the vine like this. I leave a few of them just here and there. And if you crack them open, you will see radish seed. I don't know if you can see that. Come on, there we go. There they are, radish seed, right? So they have these beautiful brown radish seeds that need to dry. And so some of them I dry on the vine, especially if they have a few flowers left. I just leave them. It's good for the bees. I've only got maybe 10 or so floating around that I haven't pulled. But all the rest of them I pull and I put them inside of my compost. Well, I stack them up near my compost. I wouldn't exactly call it a part of my compost. And I leave it in July, hottest part of the year. I pull them all up just like this. You see, now my phone won't go back to normal. I've got a new phone, by the way. It needs to be set up and turned on. It'll probably be turned on tomorrow. An upgrade, if you will. Anyway, so now that my camera doesn't work and everything is blurrier than it ever has been, so I sit. Well, technology. What can you do? There we go. Okay, so I lay them here, right, next to my compost. Technically, it will become part of my compost. I wait just a few days, 2-3 days, and when I come back, all of these pods are dry. And so I sit here, this is what this video is supposed to be about. I sit here and I pull all the pods, and then I break them up into a tray, like a plant tray. Okay? Just like this. Okay? All the seeds, and you shake them around a little bit. And then you get them into a corner and you blow. That's it. And now you've got a bunch of seeds. All right, now, and that's nothing. Like, that's like 5 or 6 pods or something. I mean, that's probably 20 seeds. This is how much I've done in the last 15 minutes. So this is how I get my seeds from my radishes. My first thing of radishes, I take the seeds this way. And then my second crop of radishes don't have seeds on them because I pull them and pickle them. So they just don't have any seeds. So they don't flower. So I do one growth specifically for seeds, and it will give me enough seeds. Legitimately, this is probably enough seeds right here to do 2 sets of radishes. I tend to take as many seeds as I can get. There's really no reason you've got thousands of these pods, and it's only maybe a 12-14 foot area by 5-6 feet wide, and it produces thousands of pods. I mean, thousands of these seed pods. Right now, excuse me, I have been really struggling to do videos about UFOs. I've been really struggling to get kind of back on track. I've got all this stuff, especially garden stuff, that I neglected because I was sick, and now I'm trying to get on top of it. And like these, I can't leave these out here forever because it'll start raining. They will actually rot. Like you'll get like a black mold and stuff on these seed pods. I've got all this stuff that I have to do. Otherwise, it's, you know, what was the point of growing all these radishes if I just let them rot away? So here's what I'll give you an update right now. Since I've done videos before, we've gotten more information on the Nazca mummies. We've got more actual verification that they are unknown. Multiple of the bodies. There's some preliminary DNA analysis that came out allegedly showing 5 different ape species in one of the bodies. Just yesterday, we had a robbery of alleged crash retrieved material from Roswell. It was brought into the Roswell Museum, and it was kept in a very specific container with gases and things like that. I believe it's xenon gas to preserve these materials because they were allegedly radioactive. And so they had a container pumped with xenon gas to protect people from the radioactivity of the material itself. And somebody went into the Roswell Museum, broke in, and stole this material, this unknown metamaterial that was alleged to come from the 1947 Roswell crash. We could get more details on that, I'm sure, soon. How it happened, when it happened, are there any videos, did anybody see anything? I'm sure that we could probably get down to the brass tacks on that story. I'm sure the people at the museum have already made statements to other investigators. What else? There was a major UFO event over a Colorado amphitheater. They alleged to have seen one large disc hover for 20 to 30 seconds and then disappear right in front of over a dozen witnesses during a concert. And what else? I mean, that's really pretty much it on the headlines. You know, there was a story that Vetted did. If you guys want to go over to Patrick's account over on Vetted, he did a story about some other metamaterials that have had some analysis done, alleged crash retrieve materials. It's a great story. specifically about the structure of these materials under microscopic analysis is pretty interesting. But that's really it. I can't really think of much else to tell you. I've got a lot of work here to do with these radishes, and I'll get back to you guys soon.